get this sneaky suspicion that it is getting easier and easier for people to fall into the trap of cults. And a lot of the times you find that it's people who has access to information, people who pride themselves in knowing things, and then yet they still fall into the cult. I mean, I understand if someone from a small town or someone from like those outlandish places, like the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, like that kind of vibe, I understand, because you don't really have access to a lot of information. You don't really have access to the outside world. You don't really see other people experiencing what real life is, and you don't get to experience varying opinions around Christianity, especially because a lot of people use Christianity to actually build up these churches that people have to become a part of and become their servants or become their wives or become just something that is very ungodly and very gross and disgusting. That honestly, if you actually open your Bible, God speaks against all the time. But I do understand also that these leaders, they write their own books or they rewrite their own Bibles and that kind of vibe. And that is actually gross and disgusting behavior. And honestly, I'm just terrified on your behalf what's going to happen when you actually do something like that to other human beings. There has to be something that is incredibly wrong in your brain for you to even do that to another human being, for you to make people eat grass or drink petrol or do disgusting sexual things or even get people to worship you. Because ultimately, the Bible is very explicit into saying there's one God and that you should only worship one God. Very explicit. Like, there's no two ways about it. It also goes on to say what's going to happen to you if you don't. My favorite thing about God is that he tells us very explicitly a series of events that's going to happen if you choose one thing over the other. And then he still goes on to say, choose life. He's like, I've put before you two paths. One is death, one leads to death, one leads to life. Choose the one that leads to life. And then you will be so happy and fulfilled. But oftentimes we are like, yeah, this one feels like too much of a responsibility. I don't know. I feel like I want to go with the other one. And then we become so surprised when all of the things that God actually speaks about actually starts happening. All of the negative things when we choose the path that leads to death. I mean, look at the state of the world right now. We have made such bad decisions as human beings, and yet we still want to put the blame on God somehow, when he was very explicit when he put us on this earth. He was like, this is how I want you to manage this planet, and if you're not going to manage it, it's going to break down. And yet we still want to be like, oh, where's your God now? What do you mean, where's God now? You discarded him a long time ago. But anyway, we're not there. I become truly disappointed in the kind of people who would even think up such disgusting and immoral things to make other people do. And especially using that person's need for community, need for belonging as your cash cow. Ugh, I can't. Just be safe, y'all, out there. There's going to be a lot of information you can easily fall into because you feel like, oh my goodness, I feel like I belong here. Oh my goodness, this person is saying all the right things. This feels like the promised land. But ultimately, what Christianity is a personal relationship between you and God.